Here we are at Radio Show 2016 in Nashville, Tennessee, and I have been thinking about you for months. I've been thinking about you for months because I knew who was going to be in this room today, and I have a suspicion about where you are in your career. Some of you are maybe a little further along than others, Mike, but you still have a long way to go. You still have a lot to offer, and I was thinking about you. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. You, the best I could bring you. So, the prosperous professional you. Wouldn't that be nice? So, I say communication is the key. But they say, I was going to say, probably in radio, you got a lot of different ways to say talk is cheap. But I say communication is priceless. Now, there are a lot of things that you could invest your time on early in your career. Some of those things you're going to need for the whole rest of your career. Some of those things will be outdated by next year. So as you put time in on yourself and as you better yourself, I encourage you to think about what's going to be an evergreen investment that will pay dividends for the rest of your whole life. And I think communication's one of those things. And I always felt like maybe I was just somehow less valuable than the people with the hard skills. The way people talk about these things, of course, the hard skills must be more valuable. The soft skills are not as valuable. And so I always felt like I wasn't quite as good as the people I was working with, all the engineers and scientists and people who had the hard skills. And that was sort of awkward because I was going around trying to prove I was valuable, but feeling like I wasn't valuable, so just kind of awkward. And then, one day, I was at one of the very first TEDx events ever. I had just gone to TED. I was now at TEDx Santa Monica, and it was years ago. And there was this guy on stage who had all the hard skills. He was a venture capitalist, all the hard skills, talking about something very interesting. But I thought, as I sat in the audience, that I was just going to throw up because he was so nervous. And he was looking at his feet and reading his papers and shuffling and umming and ahhing. It was about the most painful thing I've ever had to sit through. And there was this little piece of me, I'm going to admit, that was going, ha, 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 right? But then a friend of mine walked over and said something that totally changed my life. He leaned down and said, John, we got to do something to help people like this. And I realized in that moment that if I stopped honoring the chip on my shoulder and started honoring something much better than that, just let that chip fall, I could make a difference for someone like this guy. And that's what had me start to look at communication through the logical lens of human evolutionary biology and human neurophysiology, so that I could show people like him not just what to do, but why it would work, based in science. So that's what I do. I go all over the world doing that. And I've thought about what could I say to you today out of all the things that I spend all my time talking about, what would be one of the best things I could give you? So would you be interested in that? Yes. Okay, good. So these are the 3 ways to inspire and connect with and inspire any audience, anywhere, anytime. But first I want to give you a little bit about the logic and about working with humans, because you've noticed communicating with human beings is not logical. Have you noticed that? Yeah. It's not logical, it's biological. And I'm being cheeky here and quoting myself, but I think it's important to remember that logic alone will not work. You need to have the emotional connection. You need to think about where people are coming from, because pure logic will not save the day. Okay, so let's talk about the science, a little bit of the science. There are a lot of things I could talk about, but have you ever noticed that human beings have strangely conspicuous eyes? Have you noticed that? We are one of the only animals in the world with whites in our eyes, and we're certainly the only primate with whites in our eyes. And what that does is makes it so we gave up our ability to be sneaky. Have you noticed you can tell where I'm looking? Now, if I had dark there instead of the white, you couldn't see and I could be sneaky, but now you can see. And there's a lot of really interesting work around this. It's called the cooperative eye gaze theory. But the bottom line is that we gave up being sneaky so that we could better understand each other, better see and know what each other are thinking and where each other are looking, so that we could better cooperate. Because I think if you look at our species, one of the things that really defines where we get the best that we get is when we cooperate. So I say that proves that authenticity is an evolutionary advantage for human beings. Okay, so the 3 ways to connect with and inspire any audience, anywhere, anytime. Number 1, from a guy named Les Brown. You know him? One of the most highly paid, most requested professional speakers in the world. And he told me, people don't connect with your successes. They connect with your messes. Your message is in your mess. Now that doesn't mean just complain. What it means is when you share something that you screwed up and what you learned. I lost $80 million. I had a .com company, $80+ million, and I was so disappointed and so embarrassed and so upset that I almost died of an autoimmune disease. That's what Flash helps me manage still to this day. That was in 2000 when the whole .com thing crashed. $80 million I burned, and I almost died. And as I sat in that hospital room thinking I wasn't going to make it back out, I realized something really big for me. I realized that my whole life had been incredibly selfish. I'd been living in a context of opportunity only knocks once, you better make this work, and you better succeed. So it was all about me. I was going to succeed. And yeah, I might take some people with me, but it was all about me succeeding. And as I sat there thinking I might not make it another day, I realized that's not the legacy that I wanted to leave. That's not the context I wanted to be living my life in. So I changed my context. I said, if I get out of here, here's what I'm living in. I'm here to make a difference, period. Anything I do, I'm going to do to the absolute best of my ability, and I will make a difference somehow. If I'm carrying the garbage, if I'm the CEO, if I'm anything in between, I'm going to do it the best I can and make a difference. Now, you can see in my face that that's what I really got. And you could get that too without almost having to die. That's why people like to hear about our messes. When you share your messes and what you learn, that's valuable information. And it'll connect people with you. Okay, ready for number 2? Don't be special. Don't make yourself special, is what Craig Valentine says. Make the process special. Okay, in high school, I was in debate and public speaking, and I won every contest I ever entered except one, and that judge found me later and apologized to me and told me that I should have won. Now, if I stopped there and said, and I'll show you now how to be great public speakers, most of you would be going, whoa, this guy's still stuck in high school. But here's the point of that story. Why that happened had very little to do with me. I did one thing, and I'm going to tell you what it is. I had a world-class coach at my public high school where I grew up, world-class coach, and I loved him, and I did anything he said. I had a world-class coach, and I was coachable. The one thing I did was be coachable. So now you can take that to the bank. I'm not this poor guy who's still stuck in high school. I just gave you a really great way to get good at whatever you want to be good at. So don't make yourself special. People can't relate to special people. But if you make the process special, people love that. Good? Ready for the third one? Do you mind lightsabers? No, okay, good. So here's the third one from Nancy Duarte. She says, don't be the hero of your talk, make the audience the hero of your talk. So if this were Star Wars, it would kind of be like Luke Skywalker versus Yoda, right? So let's see what would happen if Luke Skywalker were going to give a talk. You ready for that? We'll do that first, then we'll try Yoda. I'm not TV, you guys. I can see you. Okay, so here we go. Luke Skywalker. Thank you very much. Okay, not bad, right? Not bad. But now let's try it again, and let's see what it would be like if maybe I were going to be Yoda this time, or I were going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. So let's see how that would be different, yeah? Okay, ready? Good, okay, I'm not TV. Everybody, are you ready? Okay, here we go. Obi-Wan, Yoda. This is an elegant weapon from a more civilized time. And if you practice and you use the Force, you could change the destiny of the galaxy. And the Force is strong with you. Oops. Gee, so strong with you, I'm already messing up. So let's go. Come on. Very good. Come at me. You're not taking this seriously. Come on. Get me. Get me. Come on. Push me back. Oh, very good. Excellent. Good. Rah. Excellent. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, so. Very good. So if you practice and you use the Force, you could change the destiny of the galaxy. Thank you. Now, which one of those was more fun? The first one or the second one? Second. The second one, right? So don't be the hero of your talk. Make the audience the hero. It's way more fun anyway. Good? So let's review really fast. People don't connect with your successes. They connect with your messages in your mess. Now, does that just mean complain? No. What else do you have to share? What you learned. Very good. Now, the second one, don't make yourself special. Make the process special. And don't be the hero of your talk. Make who the hero of your talk? The audience. Now, so real quickly, talk is cheap, communication is priceless, and you are leaders. My only question is not, are you a leader? My only question is, are you aware of what a leader you are, and are you leading people in the direction you mean to be leading them in? And I have one quick thing to say to you as leaders. Leadership skills. I want you to notice that it is easy to be a leader when it's easy to be a leader, but that is not when it makes a difference. Here's an example, the buffet line. Follow me, I'll go first. Come on, let's go, I'm a leader. Yeah, that's not really gonna make a big difference, right? That's not really demonstrating meaningful leadership skills. Being a leader is much harder when it's scary or difficult, like being the first person to talk about what you messed up and what you learned. Have you noticed people don't like to go first in that conversation? People don't like to go first, but have you noticed they like to go second or third or fourth? Boy, that's a conversation most people will never forget. That's a real conversation, but nobody wants to go first. But that's what leaders do. Leaders lead. They go first, particularly in those places where it is difficult or scary to go first, but it would make a difference. So I really encourage you to think about that when you get the opportunity to share your messes and make the audience the hero and share the process. It's just a little bit more thought on your part, but it has a tremendously different outcome. So share yourself, because the prosperous professional you, sharing yourself, is priceless. Thank you. Now, I'll pop that up for you real quick if you want to take a picture as we cheer.